One of the biggest challenges for ADHD is screen addiction. This is a big problem for basically everybody in society now. I think societally we're just generally addicted to screens, but it's much worse for people with ADHD for a number of reasons. First of all, the ADHD brain is chronically understimulated, and we crave stimulation. We crave it from basically anywhere we can get it, but screens are hyper stimulating. It's sort of like how refined sugar is so unnaturally stimulating compared to what humans evolved to eat that it's inherently addictive. It's hard to resist. When we eat it, we just want more and more of it. It's like too much to handle. Um, and then the very nature of the internet compounds this addictive potential because another facet of ADHD, at least the way I experience it, is this insatiable appetite for knowledge and information. That could also just be because I'm a nerd, but I think that's a pretty common ADHD thing, to be deeply interested in whatever our hyperfixation is, or whatever we're hyper focused on. I just have this boundless curiosity about pretty much everything. So the internet is so seductive, especially now that we all have tiny little computers in our pockets all the time. Because I have this inexhaustible source of information about anything I can think of. So it's always tantalizing me and always beckoning me and distracting me. So instead of just trying to force myself into different behavior, I tackled my problem using various strategies and habits to, over time, train myself into different behaviors. So the first strategy that I recommend is creating internal obstacles to using your phone. What I mean by that is things like, first of all, a minimalist user interface. And there are a lot of different apps for this. The one that I use is called the Oasis launcher. What that does is it takes away all the icons on the screen and replaces it with just a neutral background. I have mine as just a black background with the names of my apps just in like a list of alphabetical order. It's very boring. It's very unenticing. No colors or enticing buttons to push. Just a boring list on a black background. There's a thing called focus mode where it basically locks the phone down and only keeps those home screen apps available. So you can't like swipe to the next page and go through all your apps. You just can't do it. And it also has the option of like different barriers to exiting out of focus mode. So like having to solve a math problem or answer a riddle, or what I use is a 10-second countdown. So whenever I exit out of focus mode, I click the button, then I have to sit there while there's a 10-second countdown on the screen. And that's really helpful because, first of all, I'm impatient. So a lot of times, whatever I was gonna mindlessly do, it's not worth sitting there and waiting 10 seconds, which means I didn't really want to do it. It was just a compulsive behavior. And also, in that window of 10 seconds, it gives me the chance to inject some mindfulness into what I'm doing. I'm like, do I really want to be doing this right now? Do I really want to be opening up this app? Do I really want to be spending my time on this? So yeah, it's really, really helpful for that. Yeah. So then the next thing I recommend is a productivity app, and there are a lot of these too. The one that I use is called Stay Focused. It's I think it's free, but there are different paid options for more features. I just use the free version, and it sets time limits for apps that you select. So, for example, I have a 30-minute per day limit on Instagram. And after I've used it for 30 minutes, it shuts down the app. So, one of the really cool things about this feature is when you have one of those apps open, there's this little like blue pixel on the side of the screen that shows you how much time you have left, and it's always there. So, whenever I open up Instagram, I have the awareness that like I only have a certain amount of time to spend on this. I want to budget my time wisely. I use Instagram for not just scrolling, but also I use it for sending memes to people, which of course is very important. And some people I just like, that's the main messaging app that we use with each other. Uh, so because I use it for messaging people also, I don't want to waste a lot of time scrolling. Now, in case this sounds too simple, I will remind you that the ADHD brain is ingenious in its ability to sabotage itself. So, of course, it's possible to just go into the settings of the productivity app and disable the time limit for the app that you want to keep using. And finally, a feature that comes built into every phone is the Do Not Disturb feature. I love Do Not Disturb. I love not being disturbed. I love being unreachable. And I know this is not a luxury for everyone. Some people need to be on their phones a lot for work or just have it always available to them. But it's very customizable. I have it set so that all calls can still get through and texts from people who I select out of my contacts. So like immediate family, emergency contacts, things like that. So if something's really important, it'll get through. But what doesn't come through are other texts or things from other messaging apps or emails or any other notifications. So I keep my phone on Do Not Disturb most of the day actually, and then I have like designated periods where I am on a break. So like on lunch break or first thing in the morning when I'm just sort of getting myself together, or while I'm eating dinner, or at the end of the workday when I'm just relaxing, winding down. Then I take it off and attend to whatever notifications came through, which usually aren't that important. It's like when I first started doing this, I definitely had a withdrawal period where I always had this feeling of like, oh, I wonder who's texting me. I wonder what notifications I'm getting. I wonder what emails I'm getting. And then after like an hour or two, I would check it and there would be notifications and I'm just like, I don't care about this. It started, getting notifications started to feel more like an annoyance than something I actually wanted. And now I actually really like the feeling of just not being bothered by people. And yeah, it's pretty nice. So all of those things combined have been really, really helpful for me. Using the minimalist user interface, using the Stay Focused app to set time limits on apps. And something I didn't mention is that for really problematic apps, I just uninstall them. Like, I used to spend way too much time on Facebook, back when Facebook was relevant. I just took Facebook off my phone. Now I never use it anymore. I highly recommend it. Yeah, so minimalist user interface, the productivity app, and Do Not Disturb. So all of those things create these barriers to the phone, inside the phone itself. Now, the next thing I recommend, which goes hand in hand with what I mentioned about creating internal obstacles within the phone, is creating external physical barriers to using the phone. So I mentioned that I mentioned before that using my phone too much before bed and first thing in the morning was a problem for me. So now I keep my phone away from my bed when it's charging at night. I don't keep it in my nightstand. I keep it on my desk on the other side of the room. And that has the added benefit of making me actually get out of bed when my phone alarm goes off in the morning. I have to get out of bed, turn it off, and not sit there scrolling and maybe snoozing and then going back to sleep. So that's been really helpful. Just keeping it away from my bed. My phone is never allowed on my nightstand. And then, similar to that, the second thing I recommend is keeping your phone in a specific place instead of always having it on you. So I have it's just a little phone stand. And I keep this on my dresser in my bedroom, like at the back of the dresser where I have to like sort of like awkwardly reach back to get it. And I keep my phone there most of the time. And I have one in my office, my home office also, which I keep away from my desk, like on the other side of the room. So that's like my phone station now. I sort of think of my phone as being like a stationary object, the way that desktop computers are. So yeah, so most of the time it's on my dresser, and that's also where I keep my my little bowl with like my keys and my wallet. So that's sort of like my station when I'm coming or going. So when I'm transitioning from one activity to another, I will check my phone while it's on the stand. But I've created this habit where I basically don't take it off of the stand unless I really have to, unless I'm like leaving my house and going somewhere. And I also have a rule where I have to stay standing like at that station if I'm using my phone, if I want to look something up, instead of flopping down on my bed and then scrolling and getting comfortable and etc. So this has really helped. So in short, using both internal and external barriers to phone use has been infinitely more effective for me than just trying to force myself into changing my behavior. I had to actually change my access to the device itself instead of trying to just change my behavior with the device. My guiding philosophy is to use phones and to use screens in general as external tools, not as appendages, not as an attached part of me, that it's always with me. And for more detail about all of this, for more information, I have written a blog post about this subject. So I elaborate on this much more and I go more into the psychological and emotional aspects of phone addiction and getting past it. So you can check out the link in the video description and read about it there. I also offer coaching services. I am a certified coach and offer coaching for issues related to ADHD, executive function, time management, organization, and even things not related to ADHD specifically, things like making progress on your goals, identifying your goals and values, navigating life transitions, and living the life that you want to be living. So if you're interested in one-on-one coaching, please shoot me an email. My email is in the video description and in my bio. So I would love to hear from you. Thanks so much for watching.